Well, hello everyone. This is Carrie back with FamilyEbiz.com, and I am in a little different place than I normally am when I am giving this weekly training. I'm even in an apron. The reason is I just had a live demonstration that was a cooking demonstration for my homeschool group, and we finished at like 28 minutes afterwards. I can show you that later, but it was really a lot of fun for me personally. So I had to get over here, and I didn't have time to move the camera and all that stuff as well. Today, what we are talking about is our calling in business. And I will give you a little background, two pieces of background information. First of all, if you're listening to the live or the replay and you have an idea of what your calling in business is, leave a comment and let us know. Or maybe as you listen to me, you have an aha moment, you're like, yes, that's it. That's what I am called to do. So, I think sometimes we have this idea, pre-thinking, this is the only way that you can do business, and I don't think that's true. Now, I will tell you there are two things that have sort of encouraged me to give this talk. Number one, if you've heard me for any length of time, you know I believe it that we serve first, sell second. We always want to be serving our audience, but how do you do it? How do you know where you've been called? How do we let go of everything else and really focus on our calling? That means, first of all, you need to know what you're not called to do. We had a friend actually right here in this kitchen, right there, and he was staying with us. He is a pastor of a church on the East Coast, and he said, I think it is just as important for a church to know what they are not about than what they are about. Sometimes we need to realize that we're not all called to do the same thing. For instance, we live in a college town, and our church, it has a huge outreach to the college students. And so we are all about that. We are not as much about other things in town. Does that mean we're not going to help or support? No. It's just that is not our primary focus. So I think God uses a variety of us. This is the same in business. The other reason I am doing this, I was going to pull this up if I can find it. I actually read this little Bible reading plan called Jesus, Creator, Carpenter, Gardener, and King. We're going to talk about three of these. Now, if you have followed me for any length of time, you know that I am a person of faith. I will mention it here and there in my business talks, but this, I really think, whether you're a person of faith or not, I think we can look at the historical things that have gone on with Jesus and see the business side. I had not even thought about one of these, and so I think it's just really important that we realize things that God could be teaching us. Or you can just take these principles from just history as well. This was written by Jordan Rayner. He also wrote a book called Called to Create. Most of y'all want to create a product. You want to create an online course. You want to create blog posts or videos or whatever. And I think that is something we need to realize. And the first thing that Jesus did was he created the world. Again, I'm not going to go into the theology. This is my personal belief. It was his first appearing. He creates the world. He was creative, productive, and working. Sometimes we think God just sits up in heaven and does nothing. But I truly believe he is a working God, and he values work. And so I think that's something we need to realize. Working is good. And he works just like you and me. And he rests on the seventh day. Do you rest from your business? Do you unplug? It felt so good this weekend. Unplug from business and not look at it at all. I believe that if you want to be creative by creating a product or creating a course or creating videos or blog posts or whatever it is, I think we need to have some rest time. And so, because one thing, it gives our brain a break and we can create. Now, God obviously didn't necessarily need rest, but he actually modeled and mentored that. I believe that also he is creative. You should be creative in your business. Yes, there are things that aren't so creative, like bookkeeping, but when we are creative, we take risks to create new things for the good of others, to serve others. These are people that are entrepreneurs, artists, storytellers, marketers, moms. Those are things that we do. Colossians 1:15 and 16. The Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him. Now, that is my personal belief. But let's face it, things have been created. And we need to realize that we can model after creation. So first he's a creator. Next, he was called to be a carpenter. This just floored me when I read it. Let's think about it. Jesus was born as a king. At Christmas time, he is the King of Kings, and we talk about this. He's a little bitty baby, but he's going to be the king, or he is the king. But into what home was he born? He could have been born into a priestly or prophet's home, like Samuel or John. He could have been born into a Pharisee's home, like Paul. But he was born into the house of a craftsman, Joseph, just like you and I are craftsmen in our business. The word is tekton in Greek. It means artisan, craftsman, in particular a carpenter, woodworker, or a builder. He was born into a family-owned business, a small business. They negotiated bids. They secured supplies. They completed projects. They contributed to the family living expenses. You may not be a builder, carpenter, but you are doing something creative, and you are creating things or products or resources, blog posts, helping your audience. It is just like you and me. We are serving others just like they serve their customers. You are also serving your audience, your customers. I think one thing I really love about this idea of Jesus born into a small business family is it offers dignity and meaning to your work as a family business. And the way that we can take what God's given us in creation and rearrange it and offer other ideas that are creative as well. It's just as significant as someone called into full-time missionary work. Sometimes, I will tell you this, we've had our own small business since 1985. And there are times you feel like, especially the church, they sort of elevate people that go off into full-time mission work or the pastors. And yet, the business people are making a huge impact on the people right here and there. And so I think that's something we need to remember. Jesus rolled up his sleeves in the goodness of work. He believed in work. Get this, Mark 6:3. Then they scoffed. He's just a carpenter, the son of Mary and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon. And his sisters live right among us. They were deeply offended and refused to believe in him. See, the society, the people living around him, they look down upon him. And yet I believe he was born to create, born to be part of a small business, a small family business, which is where you are as well. Anyway, I really like that idea. My hair is like driving me crazy. Then the last one I want to talk about today, and then we're going to talk about applications to family business. He was born as a king. And I think that is the future. But what he did here in the present, in the here and now, is just important. Just like you are living in between here and whatever the future is in heaven, what you do now really does matter. What is happening in the present, and it will affect the kingdom of heaven. And it could be painting, preaching, singing, cooking, sewing, homeschooling, changing diapers, building walls, building hospitals, digging ditches, writing blog posts, loving your neighbors. Those are all different things that we may be called to do. I truly believe this is important, that we realize all of those things that may appear small to us really do lay the foundation for the kingdom, and it will have an impact. I was going to try to read. Let me just see if I can find this. In Isaiah 60, this is what it says will happen in the future. Look and see, for everyone is coming home. And it says, where does it go? They will bring you the wealth of many lands. Vast caravans of camels will cover you. The camels of Midian and Ephah. The people of Sheba will bring gold and frankincense and will come worshiping the Lord. And then they talk about coming to Israel. They are the ships from the ends of the earth. They're bringing ships from lands that trust in me, led by the great ships of Tarshish, bringing the people of Israel home from far away, carrying their silver and gold to honor God. I believe there is a culture, and we need to use our culture where we are now and create things that bring honor and glory to God. I feel, let's talk about callings. Let's talk about your family business. Leave a comment. Let me know if you know something or now you've got questions. What has God called you to do? What are you called to do? It really does matter. You need to use your God-given creativity to serve. And when you don't serve and you hold it back, or you feel like the imposter syndrome and you're not giving it to, helping your people, you're really doing them a disservice. And they could be further along if you would just help them. So for me, these are some of the things I feel God has called me to do. And I think he's given me giftings and talents in this as well. One is to be a speaker. That's one reason I do these weekly trainings. He has given me an ability to be a teacher as well. He's given me, I feel like I am called to be an organizer and an administrator. And that's one reason that I focus on my two events, Life Skills Leadership and Homeschool Superheroes. And those are things that I believe God has called me to do. Writing. I did not like to write in high school and college. I really didn't like to. I think the reason I like it now is it's more conversational, and it doesn't have to be some perfect journal blog post. Plus, I've sort of, after you do it for several years, you sort of get a feel for it. But I actually really enjoy it once I get into writing blog posts or taking transcripts from these videos and turning them into blog posts as well. I feel called to make things pretty. I love to go, instead of just putting a black and white, which a lot of my old PDFs are boring, we are working on making them pretty. And so I think that makes things attractive to my audience. They're more likely, especially moms, they're like, oh, that's pretty. I think I'll read that. I think I'll use that verse. I think I will fill out that form because it looks good. That is one thing that I feel God's calling me to up my game. He's called me to cook. Hey, where is it? Here's what I just made earlier. I made these little rolls for my group to talk about resurrection rolls. He's also called me just to encourage moms like you, whether that's in homeschooling, in marriage, in parenting, in family business, staying at home. Those are the things he's called me to do. I will tell you, some of these ideas I have taken and extrapolated into my personal story, but the beginning of it, which talks about Jesus is called to create as a creator, as a carpenter that runs a small business, and as king, preparing for the kingdom. Those ideas came from Jordan Rayner in the book Called to Create. Now, I have to tell you, I have not read this book, but I've read a lot about it. I'm going to put a link in the comments, or if you're watching the replay, it will be in the description. But this will give you a link to that book. I can't say yes, I recommend it because I haven't read it, but I didn't want people to not have access to it. So that will also help as well. I don't know why that duplicated. All right, any comments or questions before we close? Thank y'all for being here. Those of you that have been on the live, if you're on the replay, leave a comment. Tell me, no matter if you're on live or replay, tell me one thing you are called to do. Maybe it's to write blog posts. Maybe it's to cook. Maybe it's to take care of your kids. Maybe it's to support your husband in whatever his endeavor is. Maybe it is to get that product out, to get that lead magnet out, to get your course ready, or because the lead magnet, that can all happen before you ever have a website. A lot of you get down because you don't have the website perfect. You don't even necessarily need a website. You can actually sell, like in my email service provider, you could actually sell something just with email without even a website. So what is God calling you right now to do? One thing. And it doesn't have to be super specific. Those are just general things. Leave a comment. Let me know. If you have questions, leave a comment. I will be back to check on those. And thanks for spending time with me. I am Carrie, back with FamilyEBiz.com. Y'all have a great day.